That Kevin Hart roast turned into a major public embarrassment, and people have been talking about it nonstop. Now, reports are claiming that Dave Chappelle is upset with Kevin for backing some of the white comedians who appeared during the event. And according to people close to Dave, it goes deeper than just the George Floyd joke. They say a big part of his frustration is tied to what happened involving Sheryl Underwood. Here's a closer look at the situation. Kevin Hart has been facing heavy criticism after viewers accused him of letting several controversial jokes pass during his Netflix roast.
You're gonna go against my husband taking his life. Let's talk about mental health and mental illness and things like that. But I thought it was odd. Why are you shooting at the big dog? But as they say, you shoot at the king and you miss. Well, they shot at the queen and they missed, and I lit them up.
One moment that sparked a lot of reaction involved Tony Hinchcliffe, who made a joke about Sheryl Underwood's late husband, who died in 1990 after struggling with depression. People online quickly called the remark inappropriate and insensitive. Then things got even more controversial when Tony Hinchcliffe made a joke about George Floyd, and many viewers noticed that Kevin appeared to find the moment funny. That reaction immediately sparked debate online and had people questioning where the line should be drawn. Shane Gillis also drew attention after making a joke referencing lynching, and once again, critics pointed out that Kevin seemed to enjoy the bit. Those moments quickly became some of the most talked about parts of the entire roast. As for Cheryl Underwood, she handled the situation with a lot of composure. She told ET that she wasn't personally offended, but she also admitted it was unusual that Tony Hinchcliffe chose to go in that direction with the joke. Still, much of the criticism has landed on Kevin Hart. Since he was both the headliner and a producer of the roast, some viewers argue that he allowed jokes touching on deeply painful parts of Black American history to be featured on a platform he helped lead, and that has only made the backlash grow louder. For a lot of viewers, the biggest issue wasn't just the subject matter, it was that they didn't think the jokes were funny in the first place.
They're doing it.
You feel like Tony Hinchcliffe went too far when he made that joke about George Floyd?
It's Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
I don't expect less, I don't expect more.
Many people argued that dark humor can work when it's clever, but relying on shock value alone doesn't automatically make something entertaining. That criticism started spreading fast across social media and comment sections everywhere. Even before the roast aired, Michael Che had already stepped away from the event. Later, he revealed that the roast's writing room was made up mostly of white writers. Since this was a production tied to Kevin Hart, that detail quickly became part of the larger conversation surrounding the show. The situation picked up even more steam when Kevin appeared on The Breakfast Club and defended Tony Hinchcliffe. That interview got people talking for another reason too, with some viewers claiming Kevin's comments seemed inconsistent at different points in the conversation, which only added more attention to the controversy.
You've done good though, Kevin. The Black community is so proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe. God bless you, Kevin.
At one point, Kevin was saying, "It's our production," making it sound like he had a major role in everything that happened behind the scenes. But moments later, critics felt he was presenting the situation differently, suggesting there wasn't much he could do about certain jokes that made it into the final show. That contrast caught a lot of attention online. This debate has also reminded some people of the controversy surrounding Kevin back in 2018 and 2019, after past tweets resurfaced following the announcement that he would host the Oscars. The backlash grew quickly, and Kevin responded by apologizing and eventually stepping down from the hosting role. The story didn't end there. Kevin appeared on numerous interviews and talk shows, continuing to address the controversy and offering additional apologies. At the time, he spoke publicly about wanting to learn from the situation and move forward, while many people continued debating whether his response was enough. Critics of Kevin Hart have been asking a tough question. If certain past comments were treated as unacceptable, why should controversial jokes from the roast be viewed differently? That's been a major part of the backlash. Kevin has suggested that people shouldn't keep escalating the debate, but many critics aren't convinced. Supporters point out that Kevin didn't personally tell those jokes. However, others argue that because it was his roast and a production he helped lead, he still shares responsibility for what appeared on stage. That's why the conversation has continued to gain momentum.
And they're going to be up here saying a lot of just terrible things tonight. But yeah, you guys like that? But not me. I'm not going to be doing that. I've got a nice PG short joke that I'd like you guys to be a part of, okay? Kevin is so short. Kevin's so short that they're going to have to lynch him from a bonsai tree.
Several black comedians and commentators have weighed in on the controversy, with Dave Chappelle's name frequently coming up in discussions. Over the years, Dave has spoken openly about his experiences in comedy and entertainment. In a well-known interview after stepping away from Chappelle's show, he explained that he became uncomfortable with certain material and the way some audiences reacted to it. Dave said he began noticing moments where people weren't necessarily laughing with the joke, but instead seemed to be laughing for reasons that deeply concerned him, and that realization had a lasting impact on his perspective. According to Kevin's critics, this is where they see a major difference. They point to Dave Chappelle's past decision to walk away from opportunities that he felt crossed a line, arguing that he was unwilling to participate in material that made him uncomfortable with how audiences might interpret it. In their view, Kevin took a different path by helping produce a roast that featured several jokes many people considered controversial. Of course, opinions on Dave Chappelle today are far from unanimous. Some commentators argue that Dave has faced his own controversies over the years and shouldn't be treated as completely separate from the criticism now surrounding Kevin. The debate around both comedians has become much more complicated than a simple right versus wrong conversation. Still, many people continue bringing up Dave's past interviews, where he spoke about concerns involving the entertainment industry and audience reactions. Whether people agree with him or not, those comments are now being revisited as the backlash surrounding the roast keeps growing. But Dave isn't the only name being pulled into this discussion. A lot of attention has also shifted back to what Katt Williams said during his appearance on Club Shay Shay.
If you're gonna go against my husband taking his life, let's talk about mental health and mental illness and things like that. But I thought it was odd. Why are you shooting at the big dog? But as they say, you shoot at the king and you miss. Well, they shot at the queen and they missed, and I lit them up.
That interview went viral, and one of Katt's most talked about claims was his accusation that Kevin was an industry plant who received strong backing from powerful figures in the business. Those remarks sparked huge debate at the time, and now people are bringing them up again as they re-examine Kevin's career and recent controversies. Here's the point that Katt Williams' supporters say he was trying to make. According to that perspective, Katt's comments weren't simply about personal rivalry or jealousy. Instead, he was arguing that Kevin Hart's rise to the top wasn't just about talent or hard work alone. The claim was that Kevin's approach, decisions, and willingness to operate within industry expectations made him especially appealing to powerful people in entertainment. That's the argument that sparked so much discussion. Critics who share that view often question where the boundaries are when it comes to comedy.
It wasn't a tasteful joke to our culture, to our audience, but our audience that's watching the roast, if you're watching the roast, you get why they're doing it. You get why the racial humor is on the table. Like, it's not, I wasn't shocked. Tony told a joke. It wasn't a tasteful joke to us. We didn't like it. Okay. Hey, man, that joke. We move on. I don't understand why we stand on a hill and it becomes like.
They argue that some topics seem to receive more scrutiny than others, which leads to ongoing debates about consistency, double standards, and what material is considered acceptable in mainstream entertainment. Those questions have become a major part of the conversation surrounding Kevin and the roast, with people on all sides weighing in on where they believe the limits should be. Supporters of Katt Williams' argument say this is exactly why certain entertainers rise through the ranks so quickly. Their view is that the industry tends to reward people who are willing to play by the established rules, avoid major conflicts, and maintain strong relationships with powerful decision-makers. In that interpretation, Kevin Hart became a symbol of someone who successfully navigated that system. They often point to the Oscars controversy as an example. After backlash emerged over past tweets, Kevin responded quickly, issued public apologies, and appeared on numerous interviews to address the situation. Eventually, much of the conversation moved on, and many people viewed the matter as resolved. By contrast, these same critics frequently bring up Dave Chappelle's decision years ago to walk away from a major deal. They see that move as a refusal to go along with pressures he felt uncomfortable with.
I don't get affected by the attempt of humor. I get it, right? In this case, like, do more It's my production. That's a different conversation. It's nothing I can do. It's a production. It's a live production. I'm not compromising the live production for a reaction of what? What do you want me to do? I'm going to drag him off? You want me to fight afterwards? You want me to turn it into... That's not what I agreed to do. That's not the job at hand.
Dave later spoke publicly about the fallout, and his supporters argued that he faced intense criticism as a result. At the same time, many observers note that Dave himself has changed considerably over the years, making the comparison far more complicated than it may first appear. For people who agree with Katt Williams' criticism, moments like this are seen as evidence that the entertainment industry often functions exactly as intended, rewarding certain behaviors and discouraging others. From that perspective, they argue the controversy surrounding the roast wasn't an accident or something that caught Kevin Hart off guard. Instead, they believe he understood the environment he was operating in and the reactions it might generate. But while much of the attention has focused on Kevin, many viewers say Cheryl Underwood ended up becoming one of the biggest stories of the night.
I'm a little upset because I know who I am. I know I don't have a homophobic bone in my body. I know that I've addressed it. I know that I've apologized. I don't want to step on that stage and make that night about me and my past.
She appeared on the roast fully aware that sharp jokes and criticism were part of the format, yet she refused to let those moments define her appearance. After comedians made jokes involving her late husband, Cheryl took the stage and delivered a performance that many audience members praised. According to those who were there, her set drew a powerful response and earned one of the night's most enthusiastic standing ovations, completely changing the energy in the room. Cheryl didn't spend her time firing back at every joke or turning the moment into a public feud. Instead, she did what veteran entertainers do. She grabbed the spotlight and made sure people remembered her performance more than the controversy itself. That's why so many viewers came away talking about her instead of the comedians who took shots at her. While social media was busy debating who crossed the line, Cheryl was winning people over with confidence, timing, and presence on stage. That shift caught a lot of people by surprise. And that's where the conversation gets interesting. The biggest reaction of the night didn't come from a controversial punchline or a shocking moment. It came from someone taking a difficult situation and completely turning it around in front of a live audience. That's a move you can't fake, and people definitely noticed it. What's even more surprising is that the standing ovation wasn't the part that went viral the most. Once clips from the roast started spreading online, thousands of people began comparing the night's different performances, and a lot of viewers felt Cheryl came out looking stronger than many of the comedians who were supposed to be roasting her.
I was doing sketches that were funny, but socially irresponsible. Like there's this one sketch we did that was about this pixie that would appear whenever things happen. Whenever someone make you feel like they calling you that N-word, but don't say it. But the pixie was in blackface.
That created a whole new conversation. Instead of focusing only on the jokes, people started talking about professionalism, resilience, and who actually handled the pressure best. In many ways, the reaction after the show became just as important as what happened on stage. Meanwhile, the criticism aimed at Kevin Hart wasn't slowing down. If anything, every new interview, podcast clip, and social media post seemed to add another layer to the debate. And as more voices joined the discussion, the controversy kept growing far beyond what anyone expected when the roast first aired. As the backlash continued to build, people started looking beyond the roast itself and digging into the bigger picture. Suddenly, the discussion wasn't just about a few controversial jokes anymore. It became a debate about accountability, influence, and who gets blamed when a major production sparks public outrage.
Because this was going to be the visual personification of the N-word. But what I didn't consider is the way people use television is subjective. So then when I'm on the set and we're finally taping the sketch, somebody on the set that was white laughed in such a way, and was the first time I'd ever gotten a laugh that I was uncomfortable with.
Some defended Kevin, arguing that a roast is designed to push boundaries and make people uncomfortable. Others weren't buying that explanation, saying there is still a difference between edgy comedy and material that many viewers feel goes too far. That's where the arguments really started heating up online. And the more people talked about it, the more attention shifted toward Kevin's role behind the scenes. Critics kept pointing out that he wasn't just another comedian on stage. He was one of the key faces connected to the event. Because of that, every decision surrounding the roast ended up being examined under a microscope, and the pressure on him only kept growing. What makes this story even messier is that the controversy has taken on a life of its own. What started as criticism over a few moments during the roast has now turned into a much bigger debate about comedy, celebrity influence, and the entertainment industry as a whole. Every side seems to have a different take. Some people believe the backlash is being blown out of proportion and that roasts have always featured provocative jokes. Others argue that being part of a roast doesn't automatically shield performers from criticism when certain material strikes a nerve with viewers. That's why the arguments keep going strong across social media, podcasts, and entertainment shows. Meanwhile, Kevin remains at the center of it all.
5-year period, every single movie that Kevin Hart did was a movie that had been on my desk, that all I had said was, just, can we take some of this step and fed out? And then I can do it. Like, it don't need to be overtly homosexual, because I'm not homosexual, right? It doesn't need that to be funny, right? And me saying that and them going, oh yeah, no problem, and then going to give it to this other guy and having him do it just like it was.
Whether people support him or disagree with him, one thing is clear. The roast created far more discussion than anyone expected. And with new reactions continuing to surface, this conversation doesn't look like it's fading away anytime soon. And that's exactly why this situation continues to grab headlines. Long after the roast ended, people are still debating what happened, who should be held responsible, and whether the backlash is justified. Very few comedy events manage to spark this level of discussion weeks later. But this one clearly struck a nerve with a lot of viewers. What's also interesting is how different audiences are reacting. Some are focused on the comedians who delivered the jokes, while others believe the spotlight should stay on the people who helped organize and promote the event.
And acting like I'm a bad person because I keep standing on my standard, but yeah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It was for a while, and we use them for a while until somebody says that ain't a good word. We should stop saying that.
Correct.
That don't make people feel good, and we stop saying the word, and we move on to another word.
That split has created two completely different conversations happening at the same time. No matter where people stand, one thing is hard to ignore. The roast generated more controversy than laughs for many viewers. And when a comedy special becomes known more for the arguments it created than the jokes themselves, that's usually when the real debate begins. People are still talking, and the reactions show no signs of slowing down. At this point, the fallout has become almost as big as the roast itself. Every new reaction seems to spark another round of debate, with fans, comedians, and commentators all offering their own take on what happened. The discussion has moved far beyond a single night of comedy and turned into a larger conversation about responsibility, boundaries, and public perception. For Kevin Hart, that's the challenge he now faces.
You can't say the R word. You can certainly say special needs.
Yeah.
You can certainly say spectrum. There are things that you can say to get your point that don't have to hurt people.
Right.
But you would know that if what you did was construct the English language for a living, then you would understand that part. Kevin told you he wasn't gonna wear no dress until they offered him the dress, and then he put it on. And what did he say after he wore it? I made my own decision. Duh. But you didn't make it before they brought it up, did you? It's okay.
The jokes may have been delivered by different performers, but many critics continue to connect the controversy back to him because of his leadership role in the event. Supporters push back on that idea, while opponents argue it comes with the territory when you're one of the main faces behind a production. What started as a roast has now become a major talking point across entertainment media, and the arguments surrounding it are still unfolding. Whether the controversy eventually fades or keeps growing, it's clear that this story has left a lasting impression on a lot of people. And the biggest question hanging over all of this is whether the controversy will have any long-term impact on Kevin Hart's reputation. Celebrity scandals come and go all the time, but this situation has managed to stay in the spotlight because it touches on bigger issues that people feel strongly about. So far, Kevin's supporters have argued that he shouldn't be blamed for every joke made during a roast, especially in a format built around pushing boundaries. Meanwhile, critics continue to insist that leadership comes with responsibility and that public figures should be prepared to answer tough questions when a project they helped oversee creates backlash. That disagreement remains at the heart of the entire debate.
Tony, you think you hurt my feelings by talking about my dead husband? My husband only died once. You die every night with them whack-ass jokes you be telling. Shane, you may talk about me, but I know your kind. You want to hit this black harder than you hit the windows of the Capitol on January 6th.
For now, the conversation shows no signs of disappearing. New opinions keep surfacing, old interviews are being revisited, and people are still picking apart what happened from every possible angle. Whether you agree with the criticism or not, one thing is certain. This roast sparked a discussion that has lasted far longer than anyone expected, and people are still talking about it. What's fascinating is how a single comedy event ended up opening the door to so many different conversations. People aren't just debating the roast anymore. They're talking about industry standards, audience expectations, celebrity accountability, and where the line between comedy and controversy should be drawn.
I have a great reputation in show business, but in comedy, I'm what's known as a lazy comedian, which is crazy because I work all the time, but that's not why they call me lazy. They call me lazy because I'll do shows sometimes, 20,000 people be in the crowd, and I'll tell a joke, and they all look at me like I'm crazy. But 3 or 4 people will laugh really hard, and I'll be on stage like, yeah, that's good enough.
The discussion has also highlighted how quickly public opinion can shift. One moment, the focus was on the performers delivering the jokes. The next, attention turned to the producers, the writers, and the broader culture surrounding entertainment. That constant shift has kept the story alive and pushed it far beyond the stage where it started. And while opinions remain deeply divided, the reaction itself tells an important story. The fact that so many people continue to analyze every clip, interview, and response shows just how much attention this roast attracted. Whether viewers saw it as harmless comedy, poor judgment, or something in between, it became one of those moments that everyone seemed to have an opinion on, and that's exactly why the debate keeps rolling on. As the dust settles, one thing stands out above everything else. This roast became much bigger than the event itself. What was supposed to be a night of laughs turned into a flashpoint for debates about comedy, culture, and who gets held accountable when controversial moments make it onto a major platform. For some viewers, the issue was never about being offended. It was about whether the jokes were actually clever enough to justify the attention they received. Others felt the entire controversy was overblown, and that roasts have always been designed to provoke strong reactions. Those competing viewpoints have kept the conversation alive long after the cameras stopped rolling. No matter which side people take, the impact is hard to ignore. The roast generated headlines, sparked endless online arguments, and pulled multiple high-profile names into the discussion. And in today's entertainment world, that kind of attention can sometimes become the story itself. That's why people are still dissecting every detail and asking what it all says about the state of modern comedy.
Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bull. These people are not crazy, they're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
And that's where this story takes another interesting turn. The longer people talk about the roast, the less it becomes about any single joke, and the more it becomes about the larger questions surrounding entertainment today. What responsibilities do performers have? How much responsibility falls on producers? And where should audiences draw the line? Those are the questions keeping this debate alive. What's clear is that the reactions have been anything but simple. Some people see the backlash as a necessary conversation about standards and accountability, while others view it as another example of audiences scrutinizing comedy more closely than ever before. The divide between those perspectives has only made the discussion louder. Meanwhile, the roast itself continues to generate attention long after it originally aired. Every viral clip, podcast discussion, and social media post seems to bring in a new wave of opinions. And when a comedy special keeps making headlines months after the performance ends, it usually means the controversy has grown far beyond the stage. That's exactly what appears to have happened here, and the debate is still going strong.
Everybody has said tonight that I can't act. Kevin cannot act. What I want you to do is go back And look at that moment where I shook Katt's hand and I looked him in the eye and I said, I just want us to be friends.
A lot of people expected Cheryl Underwood to be the target of the night, but in the eyes of many viewers, she ended up flipping the entire narrative. Instead of being remembered for the jokes aimed at her, she reminded everyone why she's remained a respected and successful entertainer for so many years. Her response, her stage presence, and the reaction she received became some of the biggest talking points after the event. Now I want to hear what you think about the whole situation, especially when it comes to Kevin Hart's decision to defend some of those controversial jokes. Do you believe people are reading too much into it, or do you think this controversy revealed something bigger about how the entertainment industry operates? Let your thoughts be heard in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. And make sure you drop a comment because I want to know where you stand on this debate. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video because there's always more to unpack.